All right, Jay, I'm going to sing you a song and I want to see if you recognize it. So tell me to
Okay.
stop it when you recognize it because I don't want to go too far in.
Yeah.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to
Go to
the
the lobby. That
Yeah.
song, yep, yep. I remember that. And I remember the animation that they had with
Yeah.
the popcorn and the candy and everything
Yep.
dancing. Yep.
So welcome to Two Grandpas Talking Tech, Retro versus Modern Edition. And that, my friends, if you don't know, was the song that always played before the movie started
Yeah.
at a movie theater. And it didn't matter what movie theater it was. All of them played basically that same thing because they weren't making a whole lot of money off the movies. They needed you to go out and buy the really expensive drinks and popcorn. And today they're still really expensive drinks and popcorn. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
that brings back so many memories. So
Yeah.
today, Jay and I are going to reminisce on movie experiences. So not like last time when we did our top fives, but just talking about what it was like to go to movies, what kind of theaters there were, have some really good experiences I want to share about one particular type of theater. But yeah, movie experiences. I'm excited because I spent a lot of time watching movies in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. The same. Movies were a big part of my childhood, my life. Because even now, movies are still a big part of it. We just changed the way we consume a lot of media, with just the way times have changed. But we still gather up the family. We go, so now we kind of lean to more of the big blockbusters whenever we all go. But even now, me and my wife will still go and check out a movie without the rest of the family. The movie theater experience is still a big part of our lives. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about this one.
Yep. All right. So again, we want to keep these a little bit shorter. I don't know when we get reminiscing, we'll see how that works out. But
Yeah.
we're going to talk just general movie experiences. Then we want to talk about old school movie theaters,
Yeah.
drive-ins, and many of you may not know what a drive-in was. It's not the drive-up window at McDonald's. Dollar movies, and then we'll talk about our experiences today and how we consume this. So, Jay, why don't
Yeah.
you start? Because you've got a general experience in here you wanted to share. I think
Yeah.
you were the one that put
Yeah.
that comment in.
Yeah. So, and real quick, Greg, like we said, we're not going to go down the whole road of which one is better, right? Because we can do that. There's plenty of lists online that you can find and YouTube shorts where talk about how things used to be so much better than now. This one, I actually don't know. I think there's better things about both experiences. And I think you'll see that with this whole line when we start talking about how things used to be and how things are. You'll see that we enjoy some of the modern things about these movie going experiences, and not necessarily. We just have so much nostalgia and so many great memories from when we were growing up that we love about movies. So, um, the main experience I wanna share is I don't recommend anyone doing this now. I don't think the movie staff and management would be so lenient on kids now because of just the way you kids are now. But I remember going, my brother and I, and sneaking in and watching movies back to back to back to back. Now we got caught a few times and we've either were asked to leave or forced to go to the front and pay for the movie. And it was kind of both of those experiences, but oh, just all day, just um, and the way life was back then, we didn't have the opportunity to just go to the movies every week like we did in, my early adult years. We spent well, we can go to the movies every week, but when I was a kid, we would have to wait for two or three movies to come out that we wanted to see, and we would just go and watch them all and just stay all day. And we would buy popcorn and we would buy snacks, or we would sneak in snacks, or we would sneak in candy and stuff like that. And yeah, we would just make a day of it, and I loved it so much that, again, the movie going experience is still such a big part of my life now that me and my children, we still go to the theater and watch movies. So Great. Any of that? Any sneaking in experiences you want to share?
No, I mean, I lived in a really small town, so if I did that, it was gonna get back to
Right. Yep.
it
Yep.
was
Let's get
it
back to
was
your dad. Yep.
yeah. But for old school theaters, I'll go first on this one. So when I lived, we had one old theater that had a balcony.
Okay.
And it was still a movie theater, but, by the time I can really remember going to movies there, they had kinda closed it. They didn't want people up there. I'm not sure if it was actually safe anymore, you know how that
Right.
kinda goes. But the funny thing is, it reminds me of the scene in Goonies when the Fratellis have Chunk, and they've
Hmm.
got him captured, and they're trying to get him to, um, talk about where his friends are, and they're like, "You're gonna tell us everything," and he's like, "Everything?" And they're like, "Everything." "Okay, when I was in blah, blah," so he's telling all these stories, and then he gets to this one, and he's like, "When I was this old, we went to the movie theater, and it had a balcony, and we mixed up a batch of fake puke, and we went up on the balcony, and on the balcony, we started going, 'Huh, huh,' and we threw the puke over the edge, and then this is the worst part. Everybody else started puking all over each other. So
Right.
great movie. Uh, very inappropriate at times that I didn't realize how inappropriate it was when I watched it as a kid. But you watch it as an adult and you go, how did I ever think that was okay as a
Yep.
kid? But
Yep.
that scene, that's what it reminds me of in that theater, but it was that old school, all of that kind of stuff. So that's one old school experience that I had. How about you? Like old school theaters or like really old school experiences at the movies?
Yeah, I remember it was always easy to get the posters. Now
Mm,
it's impossible now. I want to say the last excuse that I got from someone is they lease those posters or they get them from a company that they contract with. They don't actually own the posters. They come out, they do all of the displays and stuff. So they basically can't give them away. But the old school theaters were like, hey, when that movie's done or y'all stop playing that movie, can I get, or they would just have, you would go and ask for some old posters or something. And the manager would be like, yeah, let me go back to the back kid and check. And he'll come back with a handful of posters and they would, just give them out or the little cutout cardboard cutout displays and stuff like that, and they would just hand them out whenever the theater were done or the movie, went on to a dollar theater or something. That was always a big part of it because me and my brother would always go and ask, and the manager or whoever was on duty would be like, "Well, we don't have any posters, but look, we got a bunch of these promotional cups, and just take these."
right.
And that was always a big part of it. Now, sort of like the Apple thing, it's just millions of people, millions of moviegoers. Theaters are, you know, 29, 30 different, theaters in the, so there's just too many seats, too many people to do that for. So, um, that's
Yeah.
just part of the experience. It's just not a part of it anymore. It's getting the old, memorabilia and the, old posters and things like that.
And half of them are digital displays now or TVs instead of actual
Right.
posters, right?
Right.
So
Right.
what about did you ever get to go to a drive-in?
I did. So I've been to one drive-in, and I am totally bummed that there's not more of them. There's still one that's open here in the area, I believe out in Tomball or something.
Tomball.
But
Yeah.
yeah, we never get to make it to it. But I've got to experience that once in my life, and yeah, kind of a bummer that the kids don't get to do that more now.
Well, I'm going to reminisce on this one for a little bit because this
Yeah.
is besides that theater that had the balcony, this is the way I grew up watching movies. We had one in the town where I was a kid, and then we had one close when I was in high school. And then after we first got married, there was a drive-in complex. It wasn't just a single screen, it was multiple screens. And so
Hmm.
this is still my absolute favorite way to watch movies. You go in your car, you pull up. When I started watching, it was you had to take the little speaker thing and clip it on the window, and then that's what transmitted the sound
Right.
into your car. By the time we were in West Valley, when we lived out there, you used radio tuners, which I'll get to why
Yeah.
that was important here in a bit. But I just love this. I can still remember as a kid my parents taking me to one of the Terminator movies at the drive-in, which I probably shouldn't have been watching at the age I was.
Right.
Rocky at the drive-in, one of the Star Wars originals at the drive-in. So it's so much nostalgia to be doing that. When I was dating my wife in high school, we got in her van and a bunch of us went up and we were going to the drive-in that was a little ways away, and locked the keys in the car at the gas station as we went to get drinks and treats. And as I tried to pry it open and see what I could do, I actually shattered the side window on the
Oh
van.
man.
So that's another experience for this kind of stuff. And so, I just have a bunch of nostalgia about that. But here's the really cool experience. So I mentioned that we saw Darth Vader become Darth Vader at the drive in.
Right.
This was a theater out in West Valley, and I think it had, I want to say, 4 or 5 screens. So you would pull up and you would pick which lane you were driving in for based on which movie. And the cool thing about the drive-ins is they almost always did a double feature, right? It
Okay.
was 2 movies back to back, and you paid to get in, and it wasn't double the movie price. But it was super, super cool. So like when Star Wars came out, there was a movie before it, and then Star Wars started at midnight because that was back when shows didn't come out until midnight on Friday. They didn't come out like they do now on Thursday, even though the launch date is Friday. So, but what was cool about that theater is if you wanted to, there were 2 of the screens that were offset, one behind the other. And
Hmm.
so if you wanted to watch one show on the one screen, but the other movie on the other screen, if you parked correctly, you just switch the radio dial.
Really?
So
Okay.
you could mix and match which features you were watching, which was also super, super awesome and loads of fun. So I really, really enjoyed that. And you could take your own stuff in. So, like when we went and watched Star Wars, we were worried that it was going to be packed, and it
Hmm.
was packed. So my wife went over like at noon on the day of and got in line
Okay.
in the van. And she wasn't the only one. So there were a whole bunch of families with their kids running around the parking area, waiting in line to get into the movie theater and all of those kinds of things. So it was just this really, really big experience, not like you just walk in and sit down today and watch the show. So
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Yeah. That's and I think we'll probably be able to make it out, before the kids go off to college and stuff like that. But yeah, the drive-in experience is it's a movie going experience, but it's so much different, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of its own animal, even though you're going and watching the same movie. But I'm actually surprised to hear that that's your favorite movie going experience because I figured you would be more of like an IMAX kind of guy, you know?
So I do like the modern stuff, and we can talk about that here in just a bit. But it's still, I
Right.
don't know. It's just, again, it's the nostalgia. So it's my wife and I, when we were dating, saw dozens of movies that way. It was when I
Yeah.
was a kid, I saw
Yeah.
movies that way. And so, plus, I mean, come on, it's May the 4th, it's Star Wars Day. I've got him right here. That's when I saw Darth Vader rise, Lord Vader, right? I mean,
Yeah.
how cool was
Yeah.
that? So,
So we talked about in the last retro episode, we talked about, attaching these memories to, or these experiences to, whatever we're talking, whether it's gaming or something like that. And it just makes us love it even more. So yeah, I can totally see, you know, if that was your first time seeing Darth Vader become Darth Vader, why you're attached to that that movie going experience. So no, I understand. I understand completely.
yep. What about you? You've got a note in here that there's a specific kind of movie going experience that you really miss.
Yeah, and that was the dollar movie.
Mm,
And it's crazy because I'm saying that and I know some people listening, they're not gonna have a clue what we're talking about. But this is and part of the way things are with the times, right? Things move so fast, right? They go from seeing a launch trailer to seeing a teaser trailer, and then a few weeks later seeing a launch trailer to the movie being in the theater to a few weeks later or almost a month later you're able to buy it, the Blu-ray or the not DVD because no one buys DVDs anymore, but the Blu-ray or watching it on digital at home a couple of weeks after it's in the theater. But how things used to go was we would see a trailer for a movie and then maybe a year later get to go to the theater, or is announced in the theater, or is launched in the theater, and then maybe 3 or 4 months after that, it would wind up in a place which we would call the dollar movie, so the dollar cinema, right? And this was just a cheap, discounted way for the company, the production company, to keep it in the theaters where people can still pay to see it, but make room in the newer theaters for the new movies or the new blockbusters coming out. So it was just a cheap way to be able to see these movies. And the same thing applies. We would see multiple movies for, for very cheap. But I miss this so much. It just kind of, now that everything is rushed to digital, shut down a lot of these dollar cinemas and things like that. So I actually don't see any. I'm saying it
No.
shut down a lot of them. I don't know if there's any available. I should look it up to see. But um, with the main theaters, the big theaters doing discounted days, or if you're part of their members clubs or their reward programs, you already can see movies at a discounted price. There's no need to go to an actual cinema for a discounted a movie. So I'm not even sure if they exist in Houston anymore.
Yeah. Well, when we first got married, this is the only way we could afford to go see a movie in the theater, was to go to the
Yeah.
dollar show, and I remember being very disappointed when it went to $1.50,
Yep. They
right?
they all went up to $1.50. Yep. And the popcorn got an increase and the drinks got an increase. And now that we're adults, we understand why they had to do it, right? Because they were drowning at the time. So
Yeah.
but yeah, yeah. So dollar movies was a big part of my movie going, history that I love and I miss so much. So,
We used to go to one that was in a super sketchy strip mall in
yeah,
Houston. Yeah, not good. Like off
yeah,
of 201 or whatever, I can't even remember, but that was super sketchy, but yeah, it was the
yeah,
dollar movie. I miss it,
yeah,
very much miss
yeah.
it.
A lot of good memories in those.
Well, what about modern? So, like you mentioned, I'm more picky today about what I go see. So, like the last
Yeah.
movie I went and saw, and if you haven't seen it, Project Hail Mary is phenomenal. And it is still
Hmm.
showing here, multiple showings every single day at all the theaters around here. So when I looked it
Yeah.
up, I expected it to have made $1 billion or whatever, but it hadn't. But it is still showing in a bunch of places around here. And but I loved going to see it, but I am more picky about what I go see because I know in a few months it's gonna be on streaming and, um,
Right.
plus I don't
Right.
I had an experience one time where I walked out of a movie and I was just like, "Uh-uh." So I'm just a little more hesitant about what I go see. But Jay, what do you guys do now? What types of theaters do you like to go to? Do you have any of the memberships that you just mentioned?
Yeah, so there's just all different types, right? There's the advanced screen tech that they use, right? IMAX being the main one, the most popular one. But in some of the smaller theaters, they have those DLP screens, right? And they're super crystal clear. They just look amazing. 3D glasses, the DLP 3D glasses that you know, it doesn't use the red and green switching kind of technology. The glasses themselves do the switching to give that 3D effect. They don't really film that kind of was a fad over before 2020. I would say the teens kind of a fan of 3D movies and stuff. They don't really film that much anymore. Remember Avatar was a big deal. That first Avatar movie was a big deal in 3D, and all of the Transformer movies that followed that. Those RPX ones that kind of the awesome sound systems and kind of loud for me. They're kind of really loud. I don't want to pay to be in pain the whole theater with the booming sound systems and stuff, but they actually make you feel like you're in the movie, right? Every explosion you feel, hear crickets behind you and stuff like that when they're in jungle scenes. So the advanced screen technology is one of those, I guess, pleasant kind of upgrades that we didn't have in that traditional or that early movie going experience, which is why I said I know you said you like the drive-in thing, but yeah, I figured like me, IMAX would be your go-to for big blockbusters, right? Not every movie warrants, an IMAX screen, but
Yeah.
definitely your Avenger type
Mhm.
blockbusters and stuff like that.
Absolutely, and I like right now that like, right now, it's Jurassic Park. Some of those they're putting back in the
Yeah.
theaters here for their anniversary releases, and we went and watched Pirates of the Caribbean, of course, because I'm a pirate guy, right? So, I
Yeah.
like being able to see some of those back there, but yeah, I super it's just nostalgia for those drive-ins, that's all it is, but out here,
Yeah.
the big theater is Megaplex, and so it was founded by the Miller family that used to own the Utah Jazz. So he's got a
Oh,
whole
okay.
chain of these
Okay, cool.
theaters, and the brand new one. I just went to the brand new one with my sister, and we saw. That was the second time I saw Project Hail Mary in theaters, but that one's got a
Mhm.
bowling alley and an arcade and just this big, massive entertainment complex. So that's what they're turning into.
Okay.
And
Okay.
everything's digital and all that kind of stuff. But those are the big chains that I go to around here, and they have the IMAX and all that kind of stuff. But one of the things I like, and this is why you probably couldn't do what you used to do, which is hang out all day long in the movie theater, is the assigned seating. I love the fact that I can go in, I
Right.
can buy my tickets in advance, pick my seats. I don't have to worry about getting there 45 minutes early if it's going to be packed just to get a reasonable seat. We watched, remember the movie Armageddon with Bruce Willis?
Yep.
Yeah, we watched that in theaters for a bachelor party when it first came out, and we got there so late that the only seats that were available were, like, 2 or 3 rows back,
Right in front of the
and
screen. Yep.
that is not the movie you wanna be watching that close, and so it just was a horrible experience, so I do like that I can go in and reserve the seats, and that's what we do. We have the same set of seats that we always pick that I wanna sit in,
Mhm.
and, that's I love that part of the modern theaters for sure, and the screen tech is great.
Yeah.
The sound quality is phenomenal. I'm like you, I don't want it to be completely overwhelming, so out here, they call it D-Box. So, like, the chair moves and it
Yeah.
sprays
The D
water at
box.
you
Yep.
or the scents or, any of those kinds of things. I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I do like that the theater closest to us, there are 2 about equal distance, but the one closest to us, they closed it down and refurbed everything in it, and
Mhm.
all of the seats are luxury leather recliner laybacks with
Yes.
massage and or
Yep.
not with massage, but with heat. And so
Yeah.
some of the theaters are super small. Some of them, because they did that, only have like 5 or 6 rows because they just can't fit as many in there.
Yeah.
Um, but I love to go see those. And we started doing that. And then I can't remember what we went and saw, but we had to go see it in the other theater and we saw it in regular seats. And I was like, yeah, no, me no likey because it
Yeah.
was just wasn't nearly as comfortable as those luxury seats. So
Yeah. And I think for the movie industry, I think that was a good effective change, right? Because we know movie-going audiences are shrinking year after year. It's getting smaller and smaller. So what do you do with that space? Instead of having a big auditorium with 1,500 seats in it, well, we know that the crowd is smaller. Let's just make so less seats in there, but more comfortable seats, right? So they're focusing on quality for the amount of people that they have coming,
yep.
increasing their experience versus trying to pack in as many butts and seats as they could possibly get. Um, let's just put a few seats in there and make those seats really, really comfortable. And I think that that's a good, pleasant change, a good, pleasant adjustment to that the movie industry made versus you know, just keeping a bunch of empty seats and having the theater
Yeah.
feel like it's totally empty just because there's 30 people in there or something like that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
a really good change.
They also charge more. So on average
They do.
here, it's 3 to $4 more a seat, right?
Yeah.
To be able to go sit in those, but I don't mind. And then that last theater that I went to with my sister, that brand new one, they actually have sections in there too where it's like 2 in a box. So it's you and your companion in the box, and there's menus on
Hmm.
your tray, and you can order the food and stuff, and they'll bring it into you right in there. Not the full dining experience like the one out in Tomball that I can't
Right.
remember the name of, but yeah, they'll bring the food out and stuff like that. And so I think they are saying, I'm going to get less people here. So, how do we get more out of the people that do decide to come? And frankly, I'm okay with it because, again, I'm being pickier about when I go, so I don't mind that things are a little pricier for the better
Hmm.
experience. It's like when we moved to Houston, we thought, "Oh, we're gonna go to Texans football games and Rockets games," usually when they're playing the Jazz. Um,
Right.
and but then we realized how expensive it was to do all of those things, and I was like, "I'm not gonna pay $100 to see a seat to see the Texans play when that only gets me the top row of the
Right.
stadium,"
Right.
right? It just wasn't worth that. When I go see productions, like Broadway style productions, I'm paying more for the seats because I don't go that often. So I want the experience to be a core memory, not just some, "Oh, that was fine, but I was
Yeah.
my view was half blocked," or something like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So you mentioned the food in theaters, which have gotten a little better. I noticed like most theaters, AMC, a few other ones, they actually have nachos and stuff like, well, which was always kind of a thing, but now they have like more
Yeah,
selections, chicken tenders and things like that, which is always good. Crazy expensive, but um, there are also theaters that are like a dining type, experience, right? Not just snacking, right? You can buy a full meal, a burger, fries,
right.
all of your sides and stuff, a dessert, a drink, and enjoy it while you're watching the movie. And that's these what long gone out of business, but I believe the Movie Tavern was one of the original theaters that started this. But they also have Star Meat Cinema Grill here. I think that's the one in Tomball you mentioned, and Studio Movie Grill. And I notice a lot of these smaller companies outside of AMC and Santico and some of the bigger movie groups, companies that own these movie theaters, they're doing that. And basically, like I said, you can go and have dinner and the movie as you're watching the movie, and you have a server that comes and bring you drinks and stuff like that. Um, I think for the type of movie experience you're looking for, whether it's date night or something like that, or even with the family, it just gets really expensive with the family. It's almost better to do like we do. And again, I'm frugal. Not everyone is like me, but to have that traditional, let's get some snacks, watch the movie, and then go to dinner after the movie. That's
Yeah.
how we like to do it. You
Yep.
get more of a selection. You get a better quality food too because you're going to a restaurant. And usually the kids love pizza. Um, the pizza at those kind of cinema grills are not the best type of pizza. They're usually like some kind of oven baked, like DiGiorno's
Mhm.
kind of pizza. So um, but yeah. So date night, nothing wrong with going and grabbing a burger, watching whatever movie you're gonna watch. The screens are not those advanced quality screens, so no IMAX, no DLP screens, no D box or anything like that. It's mostly just a office chair, and they have long bars set up where you can, basically
Yeah.
eat at and things like that. So really good experience, really different type of experience. Again, really expensive, medium quality food, but if you're looking for that type of thing, it's there.
But
It's
if you're
there.
only gonna go do that once or twice a year,
Yeah.
then give me the option, right? I mean,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna be super picky about when I go to the movie theater, then let it be something that I want, again, let's make it a core memory if I'm willing to pay for it instead of just, "Oh, that was a
Right.
really, really good movie in a theater." Right? Let me
Yeah.
go see Pirates of the Caribbean for the first time in an environment like that. That would have been super, super cool,
Yeah.
versus the way I saw it the first time, even though it's one of my favorite movies.
Yeah. Yeah. So, um, one thing that I mentioned to Greg that I think back to, our childhood memories, our teen years, just growing up. One thing that I feel that was missing and that I really loved about this modern movie going experience is these movie buckets. Have you seen some of these movie buckets, Greg? I mean, they are out of this world. Like they so the perfect example that I can think of, and there's so many different types that are so many different themes, but So the new movie that's coming out is The Devil Wears Prada Part Two, right? It's a big movie, and part of that movie bucket, that experience, the movie bucket that they have theme is a red Prada purse, right? And you open the purse up and you put the popcorn in the purse. So really cool stuff like that. What was one of my favorite ones? Just you name it, you think about it. The Fantastic Four, they had a cup holder. It was the thing's hand, but you put your cup in it.
Hmm.
Which I'm sure they have stuff like that at Disney. I've seen like the Hulk hand and stuff like that. But yeah, the main one was Galactus, his head. Galactus was the big villain in the Fantastic Four movie. And, he's a celestial, so he's actually can scale up and down. So he's actually bigger than planets, or he can scale down and walk on the planet. And the popcorn bucket was his head, and the eyes lit up and all of that. And it was Galactus' head, and you dump your popcorn in the top of the head. I love that. I love that. There's a really horrible downside to that I really hate to see. But if you can go and get your hands on one of those, it is really cool, especially when they go all out. The Michael Jackson movie was out, and I believe the one of the popcorn buckets that I saw was his hat, was the black hat, right? Flip the hat over, and that was the popcorn bucket. I really love that, Greg. Have you seen any of those?
Yeah, I have. I don't usually get them because so
They're
here at
pretty
this meg
pricey.
they are here at this megaplex, you pay. So we started doing this last year. I'll just explain what I do here. So Megaplex has what they call Mega Pass. So
Hmm.
I bought it last year at Christmas. It was 30% off. It's $20 a month, but I bought it and paid for the whole year and it was 30% off. And so that's part of my subscription. With that, I get 2 movie tickets every month
Okay.
and they will roll over if I don't use them.
Oh, okay.
So up to a year's worth. So we ordered that. And then we also bought, it was kind of expensive, but it was like $75. And I got a popcorn bucket with popcorn in it. And then I got refillable drink cups with
Hmm.
drinks in them at the time. And now every time I go back, I get a huge discount on the popcorn in that big giant bucket and refills on the drinks. So that's
Okay.
all part of this subscription thing that I do. So I can go if we decide to just do popcorn drinks. I usually get a pretzel. I'm a big pretzel guy. Those
Hmm.
soft pretzels are phenomenal at these places, but
Right.
they're also really, really good at Disney, but also way expensive. And the giant one at Pim's Kitchen in Disney California Adventures, that pretzel is bigger than my head. It is
Yeah.
so good. But anyway, so we can go and we can go to a movie for about $10 to $12 because my popcorn refill is only a couple of bucks and each
Yeah.
drink refill is only a couple of dollars. And my movie tickets I've prepaid for. So my actual cash out for a date night like that is $10, $12.
Wow. Okay. That
And
sounds
so,
like it's really worth it.
yeah, I mean, even if you paid the full price at $20 a month, movie tickets are like $13 each, right? Unless you're going to go to a matinee.
Hmm.
And so they're $13 each. So you're still coming out ahead on that. Plus, then we get 10% off of the concessions, any of the other concessions that we do, including our refills. We get no online fees to buy the tickets and reserve them, which is usually a couple of bucks a ticket every time you
Right.
buy a ticket online. So I know we've saved more than the $180 and I'm only part of the way through the year. And again, if I don't use the ticket, it just rolls over to the next month. And so, we actually had enough rolled over that Chris took the grandkids to the Super Mario Galaxy movie and didn't have to pay for any of their tickets because we just let her use
Oh, cool.
our freebie tickets for that. And so, yeah, I mean, and I think I had like 50,000 points or something like that rolled together that also gets me other free stuff. So that's what we do to go see movies. And there's two of those theaters now, and they're building another one here in our area. So we'll have
Yeah.
three theaters to go to. They pay all those things, or they bring in all the best movies. It's not like it's some weird small chain. This is that megaplex that was owned
Hmm.
by the Miller family. So that's what we do. The one up here is all luxury seating. Even the luxury tickets are free, unless you're going on like a premium night. I found occasionally they'll say I have to pay $3 to upgrade. but
Okay.
still another $3, not as big of a deal. So this is what we do for movies. If they come out with that deal again, I'll be buying it again at Christmas and paying for another. It's almost like paying for a year's worth of date nights
Right.
in
Right.
advance. So,
Wow. So I'm not sure we have anything like that. I need to look out. I know they have like the AMC rewards and
mhm.
what's the other theater? The Santico, like the
Or the
rewards. And
Cinemark.
yeah, the Cinemark one. So we join those and it's good for a free drink from time to time. But no, I need to look in to see if there's some kind of like package deal like that. I'm sure there is,
Yeah.
especially with the bigger theaters. So
So those things I like, right? I just wish I
yeah,
could do that at a drive-in. That would be like
yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So yeah, yeah. And like I said, we can say which one is better. I'm sure someone would love to have that argument. Which time was better? Which time was? I think there's just so much about both movie going experiences that there's definitely some things that we miss, some things that we love about the way things used to be, the old school. But yeah, the modern movie going experience is, I mean, and they have to be. They have to do stuff that's going to bring people
Yep.
back to the movies because it's going away. It's
Yep.
going away. I can see one day that, you know, no one's going to movie theaters, right? You can actually buy new movies a couple of days after release and watch them at home.
Well, and you
Crazy
can
expensive, but
on streaming on with some movies, like within the
mhm,
first 2 or 3 weeks, you can actually go and pay. It's really expensive, but it's still
yeah,
cheaper than actually going into the theater and buying a whole family's worth of tickets. But
yeah,
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 I agree with you. I can see that. And we haven't on purpose, in case anybody's wondering, we haven't touched on streaming on purpose. I think the
yeah,
next modern retro episode we record, we want to talk about Blockbuster versus Netflix versus streaming. So we're going to continue on this movie theme, but we haven't touched on streaming on purpose because we just wanted to focus on the movies. Let's just
yeah,
focus on that movie, getting out of your chair and actually going to a movie theater experience. So, but if you're
yeah,
interested in the streaming and the DVDs and all that kind of stuff, that'll be another episode that we record here in the next few weeks.
yeah, yeah. That'll be coming up soon.
All right, Jay, anything else?
No, no, that was all, guys. Let us know your favorite, movie going experience, what theaters you went to. What was the first movie that you watched in a theater? If you can remember. I actually don't remember the first movie that
Yeah.
I watched in a theater. I just remember, like you, Greg, those experiences. I remember the first time seeing Jurassic Park and seeing uh uh Dr. Sadler go to that Triceratops and seeing it and looking around like, is anybody seeing this? We're looking at a dinosaur on the screen. Like,
Yeah.
I remember those experiences like that. I remember being so scared watching the Tales from the Crypt movie in the theater and being scared for like 3 days after that. Yes, my oldest brother took me and my, my other brother to go and see it and being scared for days after that. So I don't remember my first movie. I just remember those experiences like that. So share with us in the comments the first movie theater you went to, the first movie you remember seeing in the theater, or any experience. If you want to share with us the some of your favorite memories and stuff, just drop those down in the comments, or shoot us a message, or jump over to the techgrandpas .com and just reach out to us and let us know.
All right. So if you like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, share it out with others that you think might find it interesting. Give us some ideas on topics. And if you like this series, great. Hopefully, you like our regular tech episodes too. They're all out there on our channels and in our feeds. And thanks for joining us. And let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby and buy ourselves
Buy
some
ourselves
treats.
some snacks. Oh,
Yeah.
well, treats.
All right. Thanks, everybody.